Well. Hi there, fun seekers. How are you this afternoon? In particular, a gracious good afternoon to Bo and to Ralph. Why am I hearing what appears to be, I don't understand, a little bit of hollowness? Do you hear any hollowness, Michael? Neither do I. The other mics are off. I don't know what it's all about. At least I think they're off. Let's do that. And do that. Well, in any event, as I was saying, a perusal of the Morning Post would inform us this afternoon that unincorporated Hillsborough County is considering passing a law that would outlaw discrimination against homosexuals. Big deal. The Hillsborough County School Board will continue to pray before all of their sessions. The atheists showed up the other night, and it just didn't work out. Hillsborough County School Board said no. Now we're going to pray anyway. 47 good guys, that is 47 guys that are on our side, died yesterday in an obsolete ship. A ship that was actually recommissioned because there was some senile old man who now lives in California, who I guess wanted to preside over 4 battleships, ships that have utterly no purpose whatsoever in a modern army or a modern navy, but 47 guys are dead. Oliver North is starting to look not only like a creep, but like a common thief, too. The godless evil empire, otherwise known as the USSR, has a ship that can skim oil off the surface of the sea. They offered to lend it to us about a month ago. We got around to borrowing it yesterday. And speaking of that evil empire, the guy who gave us that phrase continues to be the butt of jokes and ridicule and criticism by many, if not most, of the people who left Washington, D.C. The very same guys who touted this man to you for 8 years, including during the last election, they never believed in him. Don't you feel like an ass? Ought to. There's still that great National Rifle Association story, the one that we just touched on yesterday, and really no one responded to it whatsoever. The one that says, well, you see, we told you so. The Russians and... Wait a second. My bullhorn is up here on the desk. Did anybody use my bullhorn today? I would certainly hope not. It's up here on the desk. I just noticed that. Put that back there. I certainly do hope nobody would have used that today. But anyway, where was I? Yeah. There was that great National Rifle Association story concerning Soviet Georgia, where they recalled the 66,000 hunting rifles that were registered there. And the National Rifle Association said, well, we told you so. You see, that's the kind of stuff that happens in the communist country. They make you register your guns. And that's not what they told us at all. They told us that in a communist country, you're not allowed to have guns. And all of those people who belong to the National Rifle Association who love to come forward and support the NRA didn't have a word to say about it. About the fact that the National Rifle Association makes it up as it's going along, as long as it seems to fit its needs. But, hey, what the hell? Let's see, what else? Yeah, there is this fantastically interesting study that was published in the Tampa Tribune today, done for the Florida Chamber of Commerce. It's a study that should really have everybody talking. Let me give you some of the stats that these people came up with. This is unbelievable. Tampa Tribune this morning. Florida is 49th in high school graduation, 40th in adult literacy, 34th in college attainment, 27th in spending per student from kindergarten through the 12th grade, 24th in spending per student in higher education. We are 48th in the number of scientists and engineers per 1,000 workers, 37th in the number of science and engineering students per 1,000, 45th in level of research and development per capita, 26th in patents. We rank 24th in bank deposits per 1,000 population, 41st in commercial and industrial loans per 1,000 workers. We are 45th in state and local spending on highways. Let's see what else here. We have the second fewest days with low temperatures of 32 degrees. Second in the miles of coastline. Isn't that an interesting study? Let's see. What else did I have here? Yeah. Oh, yeah, the president and the Congress just got together on a budget that everybody admits is an absolute hoax and a sham. However, Mr. Bush urged the Supreme Court to protect our children by banning dial-a-porn. Too bad he's not as concerned about their economic future as he is about them hearing words like, well, you know. Federal courts had to take a 3-year-old child with chronic asthma away from her parents out in Colorado recently, within the last couple of days. The reason? Parents are smokers. They wouldn't stop smoking around the kid with chronic asthma. And there's a wacko minister floating somewhere around Sarasota who says that, well, it's really a shame.
But that little girl died because her Christian Science parents should not have been told by the courts what to do. I guess that kind of goes back to something I was talking about a week or so ago, how people think they own their children. I, of course, had to have a stroke on the air yesterday to get you to talk. I have no idea as to what may or may not catch your fancy today. I assume all of the things I just went through. Nah. And you know, I'm not really in the mood to have another stroke today. I will be honest with you. It's not really there. I was listening around the radio.
Hello, media.
One show.
Follow Bill the Christian.
I'm telling you, Pat, I don't want to hear any more dirty words in the movies. Most of the people who were calling out, I don't think have been to the movies since the late 1940s, if then. Another show trying to help people get their rocks off with a couple of telephone sexologist guests. That was fascinating. Although it didn't get my rocks off. That was followed by a fascinating discussion on voodoo. How do you feel about voodoo? Is voodoo for you? It's literally what we're back to. And then, of course, there was the show that preceded this one. So I was driving, and it was around 2 o'clock, I guess, or probably a little closer to 1:45. Person calls up, says, oh, yes, the unions this, unions that. I don't tell you, they get $35 an hour. They only work 5 hours a day. They get 12 weeks vacation. I don't understand why you have to lie to make your point. I don't understand why you got to make things up to make your point. And there's another thing I understand even less than that. That kind of crap, which, by the way, the hosts agreed with, that kind of crap shouldn't generate phone calls. You guys ought to march on the station for that. I mean, you guys ought to march on the station and say, hey, general manager, program director, are you listening to this crap? I mean, we're not talking about a difference of opinion. We're talking about lies. And then, of course, there was all the talk that immediately followed that about how the Japanese products are the best products. These are the same asses that for the last 8 years have been chanting, we're number one! We're number one! Number one in what? Because to listen to you, we can't make a decent car. There's utterly no sense whatsoever to buy an American product, and anybody who earns a penny less than you should not get a raise.
He's in a bad mood today.
Anybody that makes a penny more than you is somehow a bad person. I don't understand. Hey, but I'm not here to understand, am I? Of course not. The truth is that even the magnificent Lassiter cannot deal with this. Cannot deal with it. Nor will I even...
Sorry, Bob.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the facilities of this mighty broadcast machine are more or less at your disposal. Do not think that means open phones. It doesn't.
Sorry.
That's not a clever way of saying it. We here at the radio station, of course, do reserve the right to respond to whatever you may have to say. Or not to respond. We also reserve the right to comment on your call. And I shall lead you in a couple of areas that are apparently a hell of a lot more to your liking than some of the things I've already spoken about. Why is it, and these are serious things too, by the way, these are not made up. This is not like, where's the best place in South Pinellas to get ice cream? That is clearly facetious, or sarcastic as the word may be. However, why is it that Pizza Hut cannot get it together on their cheese? I thought that Pizza Hut had quantity control, but it seems that sometimes you get more cheese and sometimes you don't get as much cheese. As a matter of fact, just last week, my lovely wife and I stopped at the Pizza Hut. We ordered a pizza to eat there and a pizza to go. The pizza to go was crammed with cheese. The pizza to eat there hardly had any. There's another thing you may wish to be aware of. My wife has suggested that both of us would do much better to take walks in the evening. We try to do it at least 3 nights a week. The other night I suggested to her that we might possibly do better taking bicycle rides. She thought about it for a moment or two, and she said, "No!" She said, in essence, "Why do you want a bike?" And I said, to exercise. And she said, "Oh, what's exercising? It's going from point A to point B and returning to point A, right?" And I said, yes, Muffy Sweetness.
Change the hood.
And she said, "Walk." So some of you may wish to send in postcards saying, "Dear Muffy, please let the mad dog get up." What do you think the odds are that you would bail out of this place in a heartbeat? I mean, in a heartbeat. If we had a couple of killer hurricanes in the space of one season? Just a thought. Boy, this is paradise. I'm so glad I came here. I wonder how quickly they would get out. With 1 or 2 killer hurricanes. I think that this place would become an absolute ghost town. Because most of us are from someplace else. And have someplace else that doesn't have hurricanes to go back to. It's not kind of, not quite like when Jamaica gets blown away or when Cozumel gets blown away. And be honest with me if you would. Would you rather that we go back to the old classic kind of talk radio shows? The ones with the people having strokes on the air?
Well.
Or would you prefer that we continue along the lines of hip chit-chat? News Radio 970 W.
Calbscope.
And then there's the service, and there's the location. Did I ever mention to you that they have 3 dishes for pasta lovers that will just bowl you over? Veggietino al supreme, fettuccine verde alfredo, pasta alla maison. Or the chicken specials, chicken supreme, chicken patricia. Calbscope. Phenomenal dining. Just the right kind of atmosphere. Special, personalized service, but it's never stuffy. It's casual.
Oh.
Madeira Beach, 13155 Gulf Boulevard, 13155. The telephone number is 393-3448. Now, I think, of course, you should rush out to Cobb's Cove tonight. I'm sure you'll be pleased with what you find. But if you're just kind of hanging back, waiting, well, let me tell you, Cobb's Cove and their 4th anniversary are coming up on April the 28th. That's Friday night, April the 28th. We will be there, of course, and it will be an extra special night at Cobb's Cove. So if you've been waiting, you might consider April the 28th, or you might consider tonight and go back on the 28th. Cobb's Cove, 13155 Gulf Boulevard in Madeira Beach. Let me tell you about something else, too, before we go to the phones. There are 3 lines open. Let me give you the phone numbers. 1 line in Pinellas, 461-9352. 2 lines open in Hillsborough, 990-9352. You've heard me talk about tasty cakes, right? You've probably heard me talk about tasty cakes until you can't take it anymore. Well, you don't have to take it anymore. As a matter of fact, you can actually have them given to you this coming Sunday, 2 o'clock, Jack Russell Stadium in Clearwater. It's Tasty Cake Day. The magnificent Lassiter will be throwing out the first ball. There will also be flip-down sunglasses, 2 o'clock, Jack Russell Stadium, the Clearwater Phillies. Tasty Cake Day. Okay, I'll tell you more about that as the minutes go on. All right, let's go to Lou in St. Petersburg. Hi there, Lou in St. Petersburg. You're on the air at 970 WFLA, home of the stars, in particular the magnificent Lassiter.
Yeah, I know. Listen, you really know how to hurt a guy. I'm an employee of Eastern Airlines. I'm on strike, and you're talking about all this food. Codos, fettuccine, Alfredo, this and that. You know, I don't have 2 nickels to rub together, but that's not why I called.
Okay.
I called to thank you for a couple of weeks back, 3 or 4 weeks back. You gave a lot of support to the Eastern Airlines people. And I was really appreciative of that there. And they got a lot of nice things to say about you. And I was driving in my car today going to the doctor, and I heard some people remark about you, that you don't know what you're talking about, everything. But people, I just want you to know, Bob, that I listen to you a lot. And excuse me. And you're such a learned person. And if people would only pay attention a lot of times to what you say, this country wouldn't be in a predicament they are now.
Gee, what were some of those weenies suggesting I didn't know what I was talking about?
Well, some person called today on I don't know who, I don't even know who the guy was. I just listened to it briefly. Says that every time someone disagrees with you, you get upset, and it seems like you think you're a know-it-all and everything, but you are a learned person. I know I've learned a lot just by listening to you, and especially this Bush here deal. I remember many times during the campaign you used to talk about how Reagan, how he hurt the working people, and he did, because this year I had to pay $1,200 to the federal government, which I never paid. In 27 years married, I never once had to pay the government. This year I owed him $1,200 thanks to Reagan and his get-rich policy for the wealthy. But and it goes on and on and on. The National Rifles Association, how you try and help so many people, and they don't listen to what you say. And I just want you to know that this is one listener who appreciates the things that you talk about, whether it be religion or what. Even I disagree with you on some things, the abortion issue and religion, but that doesn't mean I don't respect you. I respect you as a person who teaches many people many things.
Well, thank you ever so much. I would, in the future, I enjoy hearing such things, but I'll tell you, I enjoy hearing them more on somebody else's show.
Well,
no, hear me out. I'm serious. So if you would call either Alan Gardner or Lionel and say, in essence, the same things on their shows, I would enjoy it even more.
Yeah, well, I don't call your talk show. You're the first. You're the first person.
You should. Like I'm saying, I would enjoy it 10 times more if you messed up their shows with that kind of talk, because they wouldn't know what to do about it. They basically sit there and say, well, well, I'll tell Bob, yeah, and it would just cause untold grief, and it would be a much better call.
Well, all right, but listen, again, I want to thank you for really, I know it's belated.
Once is enough. Thank you very much. Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious about, you were talking about us our pro-gunners don't have any guts, no NRA members to call you. I'm calling. I want to find out what your opinions
not exactly
are.
Not exactly what I said at all.
Well,
I said I was astonished that there weren't any NRA members who called on that story that we talked about yesterday. That's what I said.
Well, I'm calling now.
Great.
I want to find out what's your opinion that it would accomplish taking weapons away from these people and weapons away from the citizens of this country.
I don't remember saying anybody should have their weapons taken away. I was referring to a story yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the story was about?
Well, I've been watching it on the news. I don't listen to your radio station.
Do you know what the story? Do you know what the story was about?
Yeah, Georgia over Russia, where they confiscated, I don't remember the exact number,
66,000
hunting weapons.
Right, 66,000. That's correct. And the NRA said, "See, we told you." Well, you see, that's not what the NRA told us. What the NRA told us is that people in Russia didn't have guns. The NRA told us that the first thing the communists do when they come is take away the guns.
Well, I think what they were trying to say is not
So that was a lie, wasn't it? 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 That was a lie when they said that the communist countries do not have guns, wasn't it? That was a lie when the NRA said that people in communist countries don't have guns, wasn't it? That was a lie. It was a lie, wasn't it?
48 hours. That's what we're talking about. Not 24 days, 24 weeks. Town and Country Mortgage and Investment Corporation, licensed mortgage broker. First and second mortgages, low rates, fast service, and terms to fit your needs. Let me give you the telephone number, please. 264-2648. 42648. They're located at 14502 North Dale Mabry Highway. To the phones again we go. Lord only knows why. 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas. Hi, Tampa. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hi there.
Hi.
I hear you getting into your health.
Getting into my health? No, it's just I'm trying, to placate my wife.
Oh.
I believe it's Lionel who's been talking about getting into health. I was, heard this morning something about wheat germ and distilled water. Either that or some bizarre cooking. I don't know what he's into.
I listen to him in the mornings. I used to listen to you when you were on in the mornings, but anyway, what was I going to talk about here? Oh, yeah, the people who let their little kid die because of their beliefs, I guess. Pretty tragic, pretty awful.
Well, I mean, that goes without saying, but what's even more tragic is that rather strange minister who was quoted in the paper this morning. I don't have the article in front of me, but nonetheless quoted in the paper this morning saying, well, gee, it was really a shame, but I mean, that the state should keep its nose out of this kind of stuff.
Oh, God. Yeah, separation of church and state. I don't know. I think it's, I don't know. Would Ernest Angley or the other guy, what's his name, the white-haired guy that, Mean Scott? Yeah, Mean Scott. Wonder if they'd have taken their kids to the hospital and
Well, I'm sure they would have. They're not Christian scientists. Christian Science is a relatively small religion.
Yeah, I know, but it's that word Christian, you know. They really do a disservice to people who really at least care about people. Some of these other people are probably money-grubbing, avaricious creeps, but, you know, I doubt they would let their children die.
I'm sure most of them wouldn't.
Yeah, it's really sad. I call them two-fisted Christians with double-barreled Bibles. You know, they just blast it at you. They blast all this perfection and wonder, and then, you know, they turn around and are represented by the most bizarre group of clowns you've ever seen in your life.
Well, I thank you very much.
Okay, I wanted to say I like that guy in the first hour that this prescription definitely hadn't run out.
Okay,
he was great. I hope you get some more of those.
So do we. Take care. I don't know, Mike. You want to rate that one? It's a rating period, Mike. You know.
Yeah. Excuse me. I was on the other side of the room.
On the side of the room. You were 3 feet away from the microphone. It just took you that long to get over there.
What?
You were 3 feet away from the microphone. It just took you that long to get over there.
It's the old
other side of the room. You can lie to the home audience, Mike, but you can't lie to me.
Introduced a topic where none existed. Besides that, how many people are in favor of letting their children die?
I don't know. Want to get
lines are open. Sure, go ahead.
Okay, lines are available to you. 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 990-WFLA. Unfortunately, with a question like that, there are no lines open in Pinellas, but 990-9352 in Hillsborough. Off it is now to, let's see, Palm Harbor. Hi there, Palm. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, this Bob. I enjoy your program.
Well,
I want to get back to this Eastern Airlines thing.
Uh-huh.
Now, you know, it's. I've been around for over 70 years, and you know, management and labor cannot be fighting each other. You've got a product to turn out, and when the management is and they're fighting each other, and this is the old-fashioned way. Now, the new way to do it is like many big corporations, to give the workers a part of the business, give them an incentive. And, for example, Eastman Kodak, to mention one. And this is what is going on in many foreign countries, including Japan. Give the worker a stake in the business. Now, I think that possibly this was offered to the unions, but the unions now can be very stubborn.
Sir?
And,
sir?
You know, a lot of ills have been caused in the past by...
Sir?
Yes, sir.
The unions had to sell their stake in the airline back to Frank Lorenzo when he took over. It wasn't like he offered them a piece of the pie and they wouldn't take it. They had to sell at a loss, basically, back to him. But better luck next time, sir. 4:50 the time. Don Richards standing by at the WFLA News Desk. Hi, Don. Probably in the air conditioning in your poor car. Your poor car sitting there faithfully waiting for you out in the parking lot. What do you do when it starts raining? You go running inside. Ooh, I don't want to get wet. I don't let any acid rain on me. Your poor car sits out there. What happens when you sit there and wait for a week or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5? Shame on you. On that poor car. You wash yourself virtually every day. Some of you more than once. 3622 Gandy Boulevard in South Tampa. 3622 Gandy in South Tampa. 1980 Gulf to Bay Boulevard. Shame on you. Let's go back to the phones again, he said. Being reckless and dangerous. We noticed that Michael does not recommend any of them.
I usually put a flashing cursor on call.
Yeah. That's because they're all great, right?
What?
You don't have the flashing cursor there?
No,
none. Okay. Oh, great. Okay.
What it is, I've got prom coming up.
Yeah.
And I hear you talking a lot about Cal's Cove.
So I suggest that is because, as I say in the commercial, and it really is true, not only is the food phenomenal, going to feel like you don't belong.
Right.
You see, it's just that kind of a place. And there are a lot of other restaurants that if you came in there as somebody going to a high school prom, they're going to make real sure you feel like you don't belong there. Cal's Cove is not one of them.
Okay.
Okay?
I appreciate it, Bob.
I appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Happy prom. Happy prom? Is that what you say? I don't know. Let's see. Lark, go. Hi there, Lark. You're on there at 970 WFLA.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lassiter.
Good afternoon, Lark.
I've been listening to bits and pieces of your show for the last couple of days, and I heard you talking about a bill before the state legislature dealing with unemployment compensation benefits taking workers. Was that correct?
And that's what it amounts to in this particular case, yep.
Okay, I was in Tallahassee last week for the opening of the legislative session as a delegate to an AFL-CIO COPE conference. And there were two unemployment comp CIO was interested in that they were tracking and supporting.
Mm-hmm.
One of them would simply change the way they compute compensation, and the other one was called unemployment compensation lockout. And it would provide that a person will not be disqualified from receipt of unemployment compensation benefits if the reason for his unemployment is that...
The case that, as it would apply to Eastern Airlines, it's because of the filing of the Chapter 11. But in essence, what it amounts to is unemployment compensation for the Eastern Airline employees. They would be the first recipients thereof.
Right, it would be the...
My understanding from what I have read in the newspaper that the machinists would also be qualified for it now because of the filing of the Chapter 11.
Okay, that would be a fine technical point, but years ago the labor movement sort of gave up the idea of trying to get legislation passed to pay striking workers because it wasn't a real popular idea.
Well, in most cases I would agree with that.
Even though it would be nice, but it just...
Well, sure, it would be nice, but in most cases I would agree with unemployment compensation to strikers.
And I have those bill numbers if any of your listeners would like to call their lawmakers and...
Well, you can give them out, but I certainly wouldn't, hold my breath.
I know.
Do it quickly if you would, please.
It's House Bill 178 and Senate Bill 468. And that's unemployment compensation lockout.
I thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Be good. One more hour yet to go. Please, whatever you do, don't venture very far.
Paul Harvey.
Getting on more that killed talk radio. What they meant by that was in all the years, the 10 years that war went on, in talk radio, that's almost all people talked about. Which is kind of understandable since, a couple of 100,000 Americans were being sent back with severe wounds and 60,000 were being sent back without their lives and a couple of million served. It was kind of understandable that was a big topic. And then when the Vietnam War came to a crashing halt, nobody knew what to do. I'll just, in a moment, with you. Because I have a new theory as to what has killed talk radio. Michigan, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello, is this Lassiter?
Yes, this is Lassiter, Michigan.
Hello, sir. Listen, I'm calling from the state of Michigan.
Yes, Chester.
And I'm not kidding. I am calling from the state of... I heard your show when I was down there on vacation, and I just thought I'd give you a call and find out what subject you're on today.
Well, that's relatively interesting that you should do that, sir, because we were discussing brain-damaged snowbirds from Michigan.
Well, I understand that. I understand that I am brain damaged. I used to live down there, and I was a psychotic transplant at one time. But I moved back up here, so I became a brain-damaged snowbird.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what we're discussing today.
No kidding.
Sir, would I fib to you?
It's great. I love it. I admit it. We snowbirds are brain damaged.
Mm-hmm. Well, how are things in Michigan, Chester?
Fine, wonderful. Finally, the snow has melted, and the trees are starting to bud. And it got all the way up to 62 degrees today.
Pleasant temperature. I wish it were 62 here.
What's it like down there?
Well, it's been raining now for about 9 days in a row. Oh, yeah. There's a great deal of very, very serious flooding. And it's just a mess. There's a lot of fungus and mushrooms growing all over the place. It is not pleasant at all.
I find that hard to believe, but...
Well, wait a second. Let me bring somebody on from Largo. Largo, do I tell the man the truth or not?
Hey, Bob, the brain-damaged snowbirds aren't smart enough to have a phone. They need to stay wherever they are. If they're crazy enough to live in snow, let them have it, Bob. They've got to be brain-damaged. Get them out.
Whoa, no, wait a second, sir. Wait a second, sir. Snow is quite enjoyable.
Bob, snow is not enjoyable, Bob. It's cold. Bob, have you ever seen a bikini in the snow?
Sir, have you ever seen most of the bikinis on the beach around here?
Well,
I think most of us would rather look at snowmen than some of those bimbos pushed into those pathetic bikinis. There ought to be a law in Pinellas County concerning beach beautification.
Well, this is true, Bob. I have to go to Tampa. But the brain-damaged snowbirds, Bob, you shouldn't even let them call you. They have nothing to say, Bob.
Sir, it would seem to me that you from Largo is the one with nothing to say. You're the one repeating yourself, talking about things that don't exist. I mean, there might be 12.5 beauties in the area who go to the beach and wear bikinis. The fact of the matter is that most of them would do far, far better to stay home than to be on our public beaches in bikinis.
But Bob, surely you jest.
No, I don't jest. I think the difference between you and I, Largo, is that when I go to the beach, I'm sober. But you, like most of the yahoos in this area, when you go to the beach, you're so damn blown away on old Milwaukee that you think that anything down there is, oh, I'd like to va-voom with that.
Bob, never before have I been accused of drinking old Milwaukee. I mean, Bob.
Yeah?
Not old Milwaukee, Bob.
Well, what is it?
Well, Miller.
Miller, okay. So, well, Miller, obviously a far higher alcohol content. You probably get blitzed sooner.
Bob, I'm a first-time caller. Be gentle. But I had to come on and say something about these brain-damaged snowbirds. I mean, I had one back into my truck last week, headed north.
Back into your truck headed north?
On her way north. She just took time out to back into me in a parking lot.
If you weren't always blown away on this damn cheap beer, you would know never to park in front of somebody without a state tag when they're headed north.
Bob, I tried to tell her to quit drinking the beer while she was driving.
Unbelievable. I mean,
Bob.
Largo, this is disgusting.
Bob.
Yeah, what?
I've listened to you since the old station, Bob. It's the first chance I've got to call you. I really enjoy the show. I did want to bring up something about the girl who was taken from her parents because they smoke, but I can see that we're off on a different subject, so...
Well, you can mention that. Well, I'll tell you what, let me put you back on hold a second, okay?
Thank you, Bob.
All right, back on hold he goes. That means we have to bring this back up here. Okay, Michigan,
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still listening.
Are you satisfied with your dose, or do you need more, or what?
Oh, I need to be roasted some more.
You need to be roasted some more. What's the matter with what is it, XYT? Why don't you call them?
Because I like your show.
Well,
you're the one and only Mad Dog.
Why don't you call Roy Fox and tell him that he should quit saying it was his idea for the tea bags and admit that it was really Jerry Williams, and that ought to get him going.
Well. See, I don't know what's going on down there.
Or ask him about the management at Group W in Pittsburgh.
I was down there in March, and I listened to you faithfully for 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And I love your show. And that's the only reason why I'm calling you now is because I miss your show.
Well, that's very kind. I appreciate that.
I tell you what.
Yeah?
You don't pull any punches, and I really appreciate that. There were a couple of times when I tried to call you when I was down there, and I wasn't able to get through. But hey, keep on giving them whatever they're.
Okay, we'll give them whatever. Thank you, Michigan.
Hey, can I say hello on the radio?
Can you say who?
Anyway, I just if my buddy Bobby Lee is listening.
Bobby
Lee. Here I am, Bob.
Okay.
I'm on the radio.
All right. There he goes. There is first time and quite possibly his last ever on the radio. Although anybody that is old enough to have a driver's license and go back and forth between Michigan by himself, I would assume, and giggles at the mention of hell on the radio is a special kind of person, and we like having special people call us here on the air. Hey, but speaking of special people in the air, Gary McHenry is a bronze washboard of a traffic reporter with an airborne WFLA traffic report. What do you mean, what?
My radio's all messed up here. You sound all staticky, Bob.
What do you mean I sound all staticky?
Let me fix this here. Oh, there we go.
I don't sound like you.
Talking through my nose. And at I-275, there's a lot of traffic there, and you should use some other route.
What other kind of route? I don't know all they can do is go to Jacksonville, go up to Atlanta, hang a U-turn and come back down through Pensacola. What do you mean use another route?
You can always drive down the emergency lane. You ever do that? Drive over the piece of retread tires and the glass and the pieces of reflector and all that stuff. That's what I like to do.
The bridges are crowded. We suggest an alternate route.
Well, it's
what do you expect that these people aren't listening to these traffic reports? Is that why you come up with this kind of stuff?
Well, hey, it's your show, Bob. We have a couple of earlier problems northbound.
This coming Sunday, 2 o'clock at the Jack Russell Stadium in Clearwater. Yes, the magnificent Lassiter will be there to throw out the first ball. The good folks from Tasty Cakes will be there to give you a free Tasty Cake as well as flip-down sunglasses. That is Sunday, 2 o'clock. Jack Russell Stadium, the magnificent Lassiter, and Tasty Cakes. What more could you ask for? From News Radio 970 WFLA. Here's 937 and 2454 McMullen Booth Road in Clearwater. 726-0523. There's an Oric in my house, and I don't think that there will ever be a day in the future when there isn't an Oric in my house. Largo, hi, you're on the air again at 970 WFLA.
The magnificent Lassiter. I am so thrilled.
Oh, that's a great way to start a call. I love that. That's a good...
Bob, I've listened to you for a long time. This is the first chance I've got to call.
Now you're going to fib to me. You've had lots of chances to call before. You were afraid to, weren't you?
Bob, I wasn't afraid, Bob. I just, I work during the day, and I'm home with a little surgery repair here, so...
Oh, great. Now he's going to tell us about his boo-boo, so we'll go easier on him.
That little boo-boo, Bob. Go easy on me. Listen, the reason I called... my wife and I were reading the story this morning about the girl who was taken from her parents because they refused to smoke, or because they smoked around her, and she had acute asthma.
In the Denver, Colorado area.
Denton, Maryland, it says in the paper.
Oh, really? I could have sworn it was Colorado.
Denton,
okay,
I'm looking at the article. Anyway, be that as it may, we tried to sit down and think, this was a question, as you brought up on many times, do you own your children? What rights do you really have? I have a very hard time letting anyone take a child from a parent. On the other hand, I have to look at the health of the baby, too. We're looking at a 3-year-old with chronic asthma who's been in the hospital 6 times the past year because I'm hard time understanding what the parents could have been thinking about. I know how bad it must hurt, and to have a child with, the chronic asthma, I don't know, Bob. I don't know what some parents think.
Largo, I thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. And just as a quick note, my Cubs will finish ahead of your Phillies this year.
Phone you, sports person. Unbelievable. The Cubs. Don Richards standing by at the WFLA News Desk. Don, of course, is a Boston Red Sox fan and is never in error. What do you mean error? Who do you subscribe to?
No, I'm a Red Sox fan.
Oh, okay. I was saying error, as in I was wrong.
Oh, the mighty Lassiter incorrect. Good heavens.
Well, I was about to come in there and kick you.
531 at 970 WFL.
Bronzodonis, not Adidas. Traffic on the interstate system in Tampa still slow northbound into the downtown Tampa junction because of the earlier problem to the north of Ashley, southbound south of Fowler because of some stuff that fell off a truck, and Armenia north.
With some people that gosh, how can I put this? That we had not with malice, but nonetheless suggested in many different ways that, but nonetheless we then offered an invitation for them to come home. Danny the Dodger. Danny, how are you?
Magnificent one.
Yes, Danny.
How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you. Have you seen Oren?
Yes, I've heard from him.
Oh, you have? How's he doing?
He's doing fantastic.
Unbelievable. Great.
I saw his friend Dan Miller, and Dan Miller told me to tell you that he told you hello.
Oh, well, would you say hello back?
Well, of course, sir.
Have you seen Rose or Betsy or Jack?
Betsy I saw not too long ago, but I can't say where.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, look, we all have our weak moments, Danny. We all have our needs.
Lassiter.
Yeah.
Listen, first of all, let me say that I'm all for the striking workers at Eastern. I think Frank Lorenzo is scum. I'll just get that out of the way.
Come on, Danny. You never saw a strike that you didn't like.
And Bob, I heard you say that there were no good-looking women in bikinis at the beaches down here. Not
I didn't say none. I said not more than 15 or so.
Oh, have you been? Well, obviously I've been. You're a married man. To Clearwater Beach, Holiday Inn, Surfside. Woo, Bob, we're talking 10s and 12s and these bikinis that are...
Yeah, we're also talking about a couple of bars that you got to get past before you get out to the beach, right, Danny?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about bikinis, Bob, with nothing in the back.
I mean, you put away a couple of Mai Tais.
Huh?
You put away a couple of Mai Tais, and
well,
hey.
Bob,
I mean, even you start to look good, Danny. I start to look good if you got a good enough jag on. You know what I mean?
Bob, we're talking G-strings.
Look at the gazungas on that thing. Hey.
Bob, G-strings. G-string bikinis, Bob.
Right, and fat old ladies are wearing them.
Listen, I heard you say that Alf, you were not an Alf fan.
It's the worst show on television.
True, it's not that great, but he's a liberal alien.
So what?
He's liberal. He listens to the Doors.
It's terrible. It's awful. I watched that show because Stereo told me to watch it.
Let me recommend the one.
Stereo.
Let me recommend the Wonder Years for you.
The Wonder Years is very good.
Very, very good show.
I've seen it 2 or 3 times, and it's a brilliant show, actually, I think.
Very good. And DC Follies also.
Probably be off in no time flat. Well, DC Follies is now under reruns.
Is that right?
Well, I think so. I've seen these shows before, so I don't know how long they're going to be into reruns, but...
But, by the way, Bob, what is your order of the Tasty Cakes now? What is number 1?
For me, it's really a toss-up between the Tasty Cake lemon pie and the all-chocolate cupcakes. I mean, I can go either way on those two.
The one with the white cream-colored chocolates? Or
No, all chocolate.
Okay, yeah, I've seen those. They come three in a package. Yeah.
Right, don't have the cream filling inside. And after that, it would be the apple Tasty Cake pie, followed by the peach Tasty Cake pie, followed by probably what are referred to as juniors. It's kind of a yellow cake with chocolate icing.
They're all very close in the standings. Also, Bob, tell that bozo, that Cub fan, that the Phillies have hit 19 home runs this year and lead the league. Okay, lead the league in homers.
Well, it was a very unpleasant game in New York last night. The idiot manager threw it away.
If it wasn't for that Lee Mazzilli, a bum, hitting a homer, come on, please.
I mean, Pirate was doing just a fantastic job at giving up one lousy hit, and the idiot manager comes out and says, let's bring in Bedrosian. Who unfortunately, couldn't find home plate.
Bedrosian, pitcher of the year, giving up a homer to that bum? My God.
He had an off night.
God almighty, man. How about those Dodgers, Bob?
I don't know anything about them.
Oh, I guess you would.
We don't have any sports talk on the show. Call Webb. Get off my phone, Danny.
Okay, Bob. Thank you for bringing me home, Bob.
Okay, Danny.
Thank you.
Oh, they really took me seriously. Largo. Hi, Larg. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Yeah, Lazarus, I would like to say something. You were probably going to cut me off.
It's Lassiter, it's Lassiter, sir, not Lazarus.
Do what?
Lassiter. Lazarus was in the Bible.
Well, whatever. I don't have much respect for you.
Oh, okay.
Because...
Well, I don't have a hell of a lot for you, either.
Well, I don't really care. I mean, here, the other night I was listening to Liz Richards, and somebody called up and made a remark about you, and she told on the radio that management told her she couldn't say anything about you. She had no comment. She wasn't allowed to say anything about you. Okay.
I believe that Liz is perfectly free to comment on things that are public.
Well, that's not what she said over the radio a couple of nights ago.
So
I'm listening to you this afternoon, and you get on the radio and bash her.
No, I didn't get on the radio and bash her, sir. I got on the radio and answered a very specific question about a very specific program.
Well, still, I tell you, I don't think you make a good scab on a man's ass. I'm going to tell you.
Well, I suspect you spend an awful lot of time looking at men's asses and have a great deal of knowledge about scabs. Off it is now to Tampa. Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hello.
Hello, Tampa.
How you doing today?
Oh, not too bad.
Listen, I just moved down here from Atlanta a few months ago, and I'm just sort of getting, scoping out the local, everything, TV, radio, and everything.
How is Paul Gonzalez?
Pardon?
How is Paul Gonzalez?
How is Paul Gonzalez?
Right.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's a little boring at times, but he seemed like a pretty nice guy. I just wanted to tell you.
You know, Paul Gonzalez almost caused me to have a traffic accident once.
Oh, I don't find that all that interesting. I just wanted to say that I've noticed one thing sort of covers the gamut here. This is sort of like a B market. What they call it, a B or a C market?
No, sir. This is a top 20 market. This is a major market. This is a market that
you're B market.
This is a market, sir.
You're B market. That's all. You really wouldn't, you're B market. You're lucky to be in a market. If this is not a B market, it is for everything else. It is for air freight. It is for hotels.
Well, I guess it has been since you arrived.
Oh, boy, that's it. You got it. You nailed it, buddy.
I sure did nail it. I nailed you, too, you jerk. Isn't it amazing? Because you don't like me, it's suddenly a B market. Hey, fella, I don't care if you like me. I'm getting rich as all hell. And on top of that, I ain't being jerked around by my employer being shipped from Atlanta to Tampa. I'm here because I want to be. Not because somebody said, hey, you're going to have to move from Atlanta to Tampa. I couldn't imagine a worse fate than having to track from Atlanta to Tampa. God only knows where they'll send you next. Probably to Oklahoma City. Whoa. And then to be fool enough to call me. What the hell? Do you think I'm Paul Gonzalez? Silly boy. No wonder you get shoved around like that by your employer. Standing by. Oh, are you serious? Can we do that before I go to him? Can I do this before I go to him? Or you prefer that? Okay. It'll only take me a moment. Okay. Lassiter, hi, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Thank you, sir.
Now we'll go to Don Richards with a WFLA News Brief. Don? Recalled Lionel's show. You can draw your own conclusions on that, but I think you were right, Michael. I think you were right. Okay, we have about approximately 5 minutes to go here, and we seem to have, for the first time this afternoon, run out of calls. There are a number of different things that can be done at this point. I can tap dance for 5 minutes. By the way, I still have a stop smoking clinic spot to do, too. Or I could try to be very nonchalant about it and just give out the phone numbers and hope that somebody somewhere along the line would catch on. Or I could take the old, hey, don't call me routine that has worked so very well for me over the years. But I've decided to try something we have not done for a very, very long time. Please, God, please call. I still have 5 minutes to go. I'm begging. Please call. Do you have any idea what you smell like when you smoke? I'm not trying to be a wise guy, but I assure you that when you stop smoking, and I know that you will one of these days, you will be utterly appalled when you realize what it smells like. I'm not trying to be crude, but it's true. And I know that if you're a smoker, unbelievable, a full board. I know that if you're a smoker, you want to be a non-smoker. I appreciate that. Best way to do it, quickest way to do it, the easiest way to do it that I know of is to get in touch with Dr. Robert Sobel. $37.50. He does. Let me give you the telephone number, 787-5530, 787-5530. Howard Franklin. Hi there, Howard. You're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hey,
yeah?
Knowing your sense of humor and listening to you for some time and enjoying it, last night there was a PBS program on TV. Mark Russell, the humorist.
Oh, from Washington, yeah.
Right. Plays piano, sings long songs. Mm-hmm. Probably makes up half of it on the plane as he arrives. It's so timely.
I don't know how the hell he does it.
It's amazing. I saw him in Tampa once, and I really appreciate it. He had a live half hour last night at 8 o'clock, and he cracked one up that I think that you and the listeners would really enjoy, and it's clean, so it's safe. Knowing him, it had to be. He was talking about Solomon Rushdie, the author of Satanic Verses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how he's kind of gotten the Ayatollah Khomeini kind of upset, and they put the hit squads out. Well, he has decided now that he's not worried about it. He's coming out from hiding, and in fact, he's written a new book called Buddha, You Fat Slob. I thought that you'd appreciate that, and the fact that there's going to be millions of people that will find him soon.
Okay. Thank you very much. It can be very lonely on the Howard Franklin sometimes at this hour of the day. It's just sitting there not knowing how long. Tampa, you're on the air at 970 WFLA.
Hi, Bob.
Oh, hi, Tampa.
I didn't want you to be lonely, and I figured if I was ever going to get through to you, this would be the time to do it.
Well, I just think that, the listeners should occasionally hear somebody literally beg and plead.
Well, everybody gets in that space from time to time.
Yes.
So what have you been up to other than giving everybody a hard time today?
Nothing. I've decided that I shall not, for the foreseeable future, try to get anybody to talk about anything. Just, take whatever comes. That's not open phones. It's just non-topic.
Hey, I think that's great. Gives everybody a chance to just kind of talk with what they want to talk about.
Keeps me from having strokes. Makes it much easier for me to peddle my wares when I'm in, good humor than in foul humor.
Yeah, that sounds great. I was going to say, if you can give us some more information, I think it's on that Orc vacuum cleaners. That'd be interesting, too.
The Orc vacuum, you've got to try it for yourself. There is no way to explain to you how much easier it is, how much lighter it is, how it just glides across the floor, and how after you have vacuumed with your vacuum cleaner, it comes right behind it, and you can hear all this stuff being sucked up. You've got to try it for yourself.
How many do you have?
I only have one.
Well, one's better than none.
Well, how many vacuum cleaners do we have? I have one Oric and one Hoover. The Hoover hasn't been used for I couldn't tell you when. It's sitting there collecting dust.
I think there's quite a few of those sitting around.
We got to get an attachment for the Oric to get the dust off the Hoover.
That sounds like an interesting situation for cracks and crannies.
Take care.
You take care, too. Talk to you again.